This is a non-right triangle. I have my box of angles and sides, and I need to fill it in. Big B is 37, so in big B I'll put 37. Little a is 13, and little c is 22. So I look to see if there are any pairs, so big A and little a, big B, big C, little c, and there are no pairs of numbers. That means that I have to do law of cosines one time. Then once I get that, I'll be able to do law of sines after that one time. All right, so we're going to start with law of cosines. And in order for law of cosines, you want to have all three sides or find all three sides. So since we don't have all three sides, that's the first thing we're looking for. So for our law of cosines here, we're actually going to find automatically little b, side b, because that, again, in law of cosines, you always want all three sides already filled in, or you want to create all three sides filled in. So that's the piece we're missing, is little b. So to find a side length, the formula for law of cosines would be, since I'm finding b, is b squared equals. I then have a squared plus c squared, very similar to the Pythagorean theorem, minus 2ac cosine of big B. So this is a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times cosine of b. Then we're going to plug all of this in, and we can use our calculator for this. So I do not know little b, so I put little b squared equals little a is 13 squared plus little c is 22 squared minus 2 times a is 13, little c is 22, and then cosine of big B is 37. Now, there are no no variables on this side. That means I can plug all of this into my calculator. Because I want to get b by itself, that's the only variable, I will end up square rooting both sides. So before I use my calculator, because this is going to give me a really bad decimal, I want to put all of this in my calculator at one time. So again, to get b by itself, I'll take the square root. That means I'll take the square root of this entire thing. So I will actually put this entire thing, the square root of 13 squared plus 22 squared minus 2 parentheses 13 parentheses 22 cosine 37. I'll put all of that into my calculator at one time. So again, in my calculator, I'm typing the square root 13 squared plus 22 squared minus 2 parentheses 13 close open 22 close cosine of 37, and then close that parentheses. And I end up with b is equal, rounded to the nearest tenth, so it's 14.0064. Rounded to the nearest tenth, we get b is equal to 14. Now that we have a pair, that's when we can go into law of sines. So I'll use law of sines next. I know I'm going to use big B and little b, so I know I'm going to use sine of 37 and 14. But I need to determine, since I'm finding an angle, I need to put my angle on top. So I'll have sine of big B over little b, big B over little b, equals sine of, okay. Now to determine which one to do next, again, you always look for your next smaller number. So 13 is smaller than 22. So we're going to do sine of big A next over little a. So plugging this in, we'll have sine of big B is 37 over little b, which we just found was 14, equals sine of, I don't have a, so I put big A, over little a is 13. Now to solve, we're solving for a. There are two pieces. We have sine and 13 attached to it. So I want to multiply both sides by 13. Now remember, this 13 is only in the numerator, so this becomes 13 sine of 37 over 14 is equal to sine of big A, because this becomes 1. I'm not going to plug this into my calculator again because this will give me a really bad decimal. So I'm going to plug it into my calculator one time and get the final answer. I need to do the inverse of sine, which is obviously sine inverse. So I'll do sine inverse of this entire fraction. So again, in my calculator, I'm going to type all of this into the calculator as it is. So in the calculator, I am typing second sine, which gives me sine inverse. 13 sine 37, and I have to close a parenthesis because the calculator opened one for me. Then I'm going to divide that by 14, and then I'm going to close the big parentheses. So again, the calculator, when you type in sine, gives you this parentheses. You need to make sure you close this parentheses after the 37, and then then you can press the division of 14. And then you'll close the big parentheses. So I'm going to press enter, and this gives us 33.9748, and that will give you A. So we're going to round to the nearest tenth, which that 7 makes that 33.9 go up to a 34, and that was big A. So big A is 34, and these are degrees. I have now done my law of cosines once, and I've now done my law of sines once. So how do I find the last piece? As a reminder, all of these in this column are angles, and we know that all angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So to find C, I know that 34 plus 37 plus big C will equal to 180. So I will take 180 and subtract 34 and also subtract 37, and I'll get big C, which is 109. So big C is 109 degrees. So all three of these add up to 180, and we're just going to double check that this is correct. On my left column, I find my smallest number, which is 34. I find my largest number, which is 109. Put a little in the corner, an S and an L. And on my right column, my smallest number is 13, put a little S, and my largest number is a 22, so I put the little L. So I just make sure that my S's match and my L's match, and that tells me that I have done a correct triangle that will work.